Well, hello there, Dr. Atkin here. Today's topic's a little bit tougher one. Today, we're going to talk about strokes. Well, some of you have already heard this story, but a couple of Saturdays ago, I came downstairs. I worked for a couple hours on Saturday morning. It was actually Andrew, my 6-year-old's birthday that day, and we were opening up birthday presents before I headed off to work. Well, Tyler, my 14-year-old, goes and tries to say something, and he kind of mumbled and slurred his words out, and I looked at him and I was kind of like, well, that's kind of weird. And then he tried to say something again, and it was pretty clear that he was slurring his speech. And my radar goes up, and I look at him and I say, Tyler, look at me and smile. And when my 14-year-old smiled back at me, my heart dropped to the bottom of my shoes, because one side of his mouth was, biggest smile ever, and the other side of his face didn't move at all. Now that's a classic sign of a stroke. So I walked over to him and I said, Tyler, I need you to squeeze my hands as hard as you can. And when he squeezed them, once again, the same side of his body was hardly even working. And I knew exactly what I was seeing. But I've got to admit, in that moment, the only thing that came to my mind is, he's 14. What do you mean he's having a stroke? Can 14-year-olds have strokes? And the answer is yes, absolutely they can. Now, it's so critical that we quickly are able to see and understand the signs of a stroke. With a stroke, what's happening is that one side of your brain's not getting blood. And this side of your brain controls the other side of your body. And so what happens is that it's almost like one half of usually the upper half of your body basically becomes paralyzed. So you can't talk right because your tongue's half paralyzed, and you can't smile right because half your face is half paralyzed. You're not moving this arm, you're not able to function. I mean, you can have people hold their arms out in front of them, kind of see if one side's drooping a little bit like I did. You can have them squeeze your hands, but just know that one side's not functioning right. In fact, a lot of times when people spot a stroke, it's more because they're watching one of their loved ones like trying to turn on the sink faucet or maneuver whatever, and all of a sudden their arm's not working, and they look at it and they're kind of frustrated, and they sort of give up, and you might even question them, what's going on. They might be like, oh, I don't know, I'm just tired, I'm gonna go take a nap. And I want you guys to be able to learn to spot these symptoms of a stroke, whether it's not talking right, not moving one side of your body, having them smile. It's critical, because when people are having a stroke and they're not getting blood flow to their brain, it can get pretty bad pretty quickly. That's why after a stroke, people have, when they survive, they have so much rehab to go through, because you have to retrain so many different things. And in those symptoms, in that moment, it is so critical that you dial 911, that you don't try to be a hero, you don't try to figure things out. I mean, I'm saying that to myself, because I'm not the type that goes and sees it, that goes and calls 911 very often. I'm usually the type trying to figure things out on my own. And I am so grateful that in that moment, I dialed 911. We got the ambulance there immediately. In his particular case, it was a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, which just means it was a mini stroke, because by the time the EMTs got there, his speech was a little bit affected, but the rest of the symptoms had gone away. By the time we got to the hospital after a crazy ambulance ride, things were mostly back to normal, but they did an MRI on him and found out that he had had a cyst probably since the time he was born, that sometime within the last several months had ruptured and was putting an incredible amount of pressure on the outside of his brain. And on the following Monday, Tyler had brain surgery. It's a pretty crazy ordeal. We're talking a 4-hour open brain surgery, but I'm just so grateful to be able to come today and say that there was no permanent damage. They fixed it completely. It's 2 or 3 weeks later, and Tyler's already back in school. He's got a big old scar on the side of his head, but I am so grateful that I was able to recognize the signs of what was happening, act quickly on it, and thank goodness, and we feel so blessed. But Tyler's absolutely fine. So yes, it can happen to 14-year-olds. It's very, very uncommon. You're usually going to see it in older people, but the people having a stroke, that they think they're okay. They're going to try to convince you that they're doing okay, but look at their smile, listen to their speech, see if one arm's not functioning right, and don't hesitate to call 911. Don't drive them in yourself. Don't do anything else. Just take care of them. I hope this gets out. I hope this educates you a little bit more, and I hope this can help save lives as well too. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.